Hi guys, the capital of Afghanistan is taken by Taliban. Afghan president fled, army decided not to fight. The new Islamic State of Afghanistan was declared pretty much without any ballot. I really like that CNN video when they're pretending that Taliban is not a big deal.
This is a sight I honestly thought I would never see. Scores of Taliban fighters, and just behind us, the U.S. Embassy compound. They're just chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time. It's utterly bizarre.
We all knew it could happen after US troops left Afghanistan, but no one expected this to happen that fast. Afghan army is supposed to be well equipped to hold the capital for a pretty long time, but they decided not to fight after the president departed the country. Now there is a panic in the airport of Kabul, and you probably have seen these crazy pictures of people trying to storm the airport, trying to flee the country before 9th century savages decapitate them in halal way for collaboration with infidels. What are the reasons for that quick and shameful collapse? If you listen to Biden, it's 100% Afghan fault. American gave them all the equipment, they trained them, but Afghans decided not to fight for their land and gave everything to Talibans. We will return to this version a little bit later. I think there are two other versions which are a little bit more probable. First, Biden administration is extremely incompetent and they were not able to properly transfer the security control over the capital to the current Afghan administration. Second, US army is so corrupt that over the last 20 years they were pretending to build some Afghan forces, they were pretending to create some government, but nothing actually were done. And in the same time, they assured Biden administration that everything is under control of Afghan forces, that they are strong and that everything will be just fine. My guess, it's a combination of both. Corrupt US army and even more corrupt Afghan government presented the situation to Biden in a pretty wrong way, and Biden decided not to double check, and here we go. It's a complete shame and probably the biggest political loss for Democrats so far. Was it a good decision to pull all the troops out of Afghanistan right now? Biden argues that 1, 5 or 20 more years would not really change the situation there, and it was actually a good move. While there are good alternatives to simply more years, you could reduce the corruption, you can ask Afghan forces to perform more and more tasks and gradually move out US troops, or you can ask some other foreign governments to send more troops if you don't want to spend US taxpayers' money. Some people argue that US has zero interest in Afghanistan and therefore it must leave, full stop. If Taliban introduce Sharia law, equate women with goats, or decapitate millions of Shia Muslims because they believe in a different version of Allah, this is the problem of savages, not the Western world and America. This logic, unfortunately, is faulty. Afghanistan is not some kind of Rwanda in Africa where when the colonists left, Hutu exterminate Tutsi and the whole world continued to live happy lives like nothing happened. The guys in Afghanistan are adherents of a peaceful religion of Islam. This religion is extremely obsessed on expansion. Basically, if you convert one infidel to Islam, you are guaranteed to have a place in the paradise. So you can kill, rape, drink alcohol all your life, but if you convert someone, you're a righteous Muslim. That's why Taliban terrorists won't stop in Afghanistan and they will go to the neighboring countries like Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. And soon after they will also send some of the refugees to Europe and United States and probably make some kind of a smaller 9/11s. These are extremely dangerous fanatics and the responsibility of the whole civilized world to keep Afghanistan controlled and safe. It can take 20 more years, 100 more years or even more, but we don't have any other options. My guess that we will have ISIS in another 6 to 12 months and Afghanistan has to be reoccupied again. Which country will be the occupier this time? I don't know, but I might speculate that it could be China. This country has a common border with Afghanistan. They can make a very simple pretext that terrorists from Afghanistan crossing the border to Xinjiang province and radicalize the local population. Communist China knows very well how to re-educate Muslim Uyghur population, and probably it can transform Afghanistan pretty efficiently. I know re-education camps in Xinjiang sounds completely disgusting in 21st century, but are they really more disgusting than treating women like a cattle? There is really no good option here, and I would prefer the first one. And I'm not sure that Clarissa from CNN will agree with me.
Just told me to stand to the side because I'm a woman.
Some of you might argue that I'm a pessimist and Taliban actually changed a lot and they can bring some prosperity to Afghanistan without much of the blood. Let Afghans to rule their own country. This is a post-colonial leftist bullshit that every nation is supposed to have its own independent democratic country. It's not how it works, and we can see countless examples of countries in Africa. You cannot really jump from barbarism to civilization within one day. There are many preconditions to form a nation state, and the most important of it is to form a nation. Afghanistan, with an exception of Kabul, is pretty much a 9th century caliphate. You have a bunch of different people like Tajik, Pashto, Hazara, Uzbeks, and many other tribes. They all speak different languages, they all have different cultures, and they actually have different type of religions. Afghan nation is basically a product of Westerners' imagination, not the reality over there. These people don't have this Western idea of, oh, this is my land, Afghanistan, and I have to protect it no matter what. The only land they consider theirs is basically their village, that's all. When I was there 10 years ago, 90% of the people had no concept of map, and I'm not really exaggerating here. Now I can agree with Biden that Afghans decided not to fight for their land, but this is because they don't have this concept in the 9th century. Biden could have been aware of that. The only thing which can unite Afghans is religion and monarchy, not democracy. And that's exactly why Taliban movement is so successful. If the United States, instead of creating a corrupt democracy, colonized Afghanistan in the way United Kingdom colonized India in the 18th century, Afghanistan could have been a much better place right now, and perhaps in 100 years, Afghanistan could have become an independent and civilized nation like India is right now. If you may allow, let me compare Afghanistan to the Czech Republic, which got its independence in 1918. If you ever come to Prague, you might think, what a beautiful city. Czech must have been the best architects in the world. That's bullshit. All these buildings were built by Germans who were dominating cultural and scientific lives there for centuries. Basically, the majority of population of educated cities were German-speaking and the majority of farmer communities were Czech-speaking. Over the time, Czech nationalists realized that the only way they create an independent state is to promote education among the peasant population and to adopt more developed German civilization. When they finally had a critical mass of these people, then Prague finally became a Czech-speaking city, and eventually Czech Republic became a democratic state. Great success. Unfortunately, Afghanistan is really far from these processes of Czech Republic of 19th century, and the only way to lift Afghanistan is to rule it by the absolute monarchy, preferably by the foreign rulers. Unfortunately, Europe and United States are busy with solving the much more important problems like Me Too and global warming, but we have some other countries like China, Iran, Turkey and Saudi Arabia which can actually solve this problem. Historically speaking, the golden age of Afghanistan was when it was ruled by Greeks and later by Turkish Mamluks, and no one ever complained back then for lack of independence. I sincerely wish all educated and civilized Afghans to leave safely the country, but unfortunately I know this is impossible because the West betrayed you. Thanks for watching. I have another video about Afghan history which you can watch in here, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye!